Hey, what's going on guys? My name is KarQ and today we'll be covering how to set up and position yourself as the defending team for Numbani. This is going to be part 1 of my defending series of the hybrid maps, so you can expect the other 3, Hollywood, Kings Row, and Eichenwald in the near future. The payload and 2 CP maps are also on the list, but I'll be releasing them slowly into Season 4 and beyond, just in case the defensive setups change along with the meta. Now, as a disclaimer, this is my opinion on what seems to work in competitive matchmaking as of Season 3 in Grandmaster games. Of course, there will always be variations in team comp specific setups, but for the most part, this video will serve as a general guideline on strong hero choices for this map and how to strategically optimize your defenses to cover all attacking angles. So, let's get started on point A. Now, defending the first point on Numbani, and all hybrid maps rather, in the current meta of Season 3 requires a few staple picks. The first would be Reinhardt, which I would play here on upper. Usually a D.Va, Roadhog, or Zarya to support the Reinhardt, and an Ana playing on catwalk. I feel these are the safest and most reliable options and positions for 3 of your 6 hero choices because of what they bring to your defense. I'll explain why and how to play in these positions in a moment. The last 3 hero choices are interchangeable between the support slot, which would be either Symmetra, Lucio, or Zenyatta, a DPS, which is usually Soldier, but you can opt for Torbjorn if you choose Symmetra as your secondary support, and a third tank, whichever is left in the pool besides Winston, unless you really do need him if certain heroes are causing problems for your defense, such as Genjis, Hanzos, and Widowmakers. Here is one sample team comp in the respective positions that can work well with you on defense. Now, why do we position ourselves in the way I just did? Why do most players default to some sort of variation of this setup? Well, Numbani is one of the harder maps to defend for the first point because there are 4 angles of attack that defenders have to look out for. The center road, commonly called main or mid, the upper room, the lower room, and the back alley, sometimes referred to as backyard or long. The positions laid out in this graphic allow you to watch every possible angle. Starting with the first choice, Reinhardt, the reason why we play him on high ground here with the shield up is to protect and slow down any pushes from the attacking team through this upper room. This room is the fastest path to gaining high ground for the attacking team, and holding this room exit with the Reinhardt is imperative in slowing that down. It's also very easy for Reinhardt to land good fire strikes and charges since enemies are funneled into that small doorway, building his earth shatter at an insane rate. The secondary tank's job here is to support the Reinhardt and keep an eye on for an enemy push from mid. If you opt for Zarya, timing your bubbles with Rein here can build good energy. Consistent secondary fires in the small doorway can also build her graviton fairly quickly. If you opt for D.Va, your role is to time defense matrix to support your Reinhardt shield and fly to your Ana and DPS on the opposite catwalk if they call for help. And if you choose Roadhog, you should be looking for hooks through the upper doorway or mid. Optionally, one of your choices for the third tank can also be Mei, in which her ice wall is most effective in walling off the upper room or even down mid to isolate the enemy team and take the advantage. Now for supports, one of the best choices you can make in this meta is Ana, which you will often be playing on the opposite end of the tanks on the catwalk here. You can heal the tanks safely from this angle, offensively bionade if they push through upper, as well as keeping an eye on main, lower, and long. You want another reason why Ana is extremely effective here? The only path that a hero without vertical mobility can take to reach this catwalk is through the staircases behind the point. Therefore, most enemies are actually stuck challenging her from range, giving Ana a tactical advantage in high ground against many heroes. This is why dive-centric heroes and dive comps consisting of D.Va, Winston, and Genji are often seen jumping Ana on this catwalk to challenge her position and force her down. Enter Soldier 76 and even Torbjorn if you're running a Symmetra for the shield and armor combo, who you will often be seeing played beside Ana to protect her from these dives while dealing long-range damage. A quick bonus for Soldier is that he can push up here during the start of the game to scout where the enemy team is attempting to push from. You can also attempt to land some shots and helix rockets to earn some ultimate charge. Soldier is a good choice here to scout because he has mobility and sprint to escape if the enemy Ana or Widowmaker challenges back. Finally, the last support slot will play around the staircase in the back here. Your primary job is to keep an eye on lower door and back alley push while keeping harass up on the upper door. If you choose Lucio, he will often be moving up and down the stairs, speeding or healing up your tanks and shooting some primary fires through the doors. He can also threaten any incoming targets trying to enter this back room with boops off the map. If you opt for Zenyatta, it's very easy to land orbs in upper and lower as it's a straight line. Discord enemies as you see down these rooms and heal accordingly. If you notice your Ana and DPS player being dove on catwalk, prioritize discording the enemies there to keep them alive. And finally, if you opt for Symmetra, who is viable by the way, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, it's very easy to land strong secondary fires through upper and lower. You can also set up sentries there to further pressure this angle from the enemies. Shield Generator and Teleporter are both viable on this map. Personally, I would go for Shield Generator as I find its utility outshines the teleporter due to the respawn distance taking about 15 to 17 seconds to reach point A for defenders, whereas it's about 13 to 15 seconds for attackers. The respawn distance and time it takes to get back to the point are relatively close on Numbani compared to 2 CP maps like Temple of Anubis, where it is clearly advantageous for the attacking team for point A. However, it is situational and the teleporter can still be very effective on Numbani if you haven't put anything down yet and your teammates are dead and need to get back as soon as they can to finish the fight. As a bonus, I personally recommend you putting your shield generator here. This is an easy spot to protect based on your initial defensive setup. Many people often put their generators in far places like here, but I find it actually very difficult to protect as it's way too far from point A. A Tracer or Diva can zip by everyone and threaten it, which may end up causing a distraction by pulling your Symmetra and other heroes to the back, breaking your strong line of defense. Hopefully these tips help you hold the first point with a higher rate of success. However, I understand this positioning guide is all fine and dandy on paper, but execution may be poor if your teammates aren't on the same page. So, if the enemy team manages to capture the first point, let's go over the defense of the first checkpoint during the payload street phase. Now don't worry if your team can't defend this section of the map. The street phase is extremely hard to defend because the respawn distance favors the attacking team. It takes roughly 20 seconds for a normal moving character to make it back within effective range for defenders, compared to about 12 seconds for attackers. So do your best by setting up your defense around this bus and close to the checkpoint. This is the closest area to defending the team spawn, minimizing the respawn disadvantage. Your team composition will remain very similar to point A. Reinhardt will often play around this bus, allowing him to keep an eye on the streets while protecting his backup tanks behind him. Your Roadhog or Zarya will be playing low ground behind him, here within their effective range. If you're running a Diva, do the same thing and use Defense Matrix to support the Rhine shield while responding to any flankers and divers, jumping your support and DPS heroes. Soldier will be playing high ground here for the best angle for his tactical visor, and Ana can play along with Soldier but can alternatively play behind the Rhine shield. You just have to be extra cautious. I would personally opt out of Torb, Mei, and Symmetra as those heroes excel in tight chokes, but the streets phase of Numbani has too much open space. So with Symmetra falling out of favor as a secondary support, I would choose Lucio or Zenyatta. Both supports can be played on either high ground with Soldier and Ana or low ground behind Rhine shield. If you do stick with Symmetra, this is where the teleporter may be more useful than the shield generator. A good exemplary spot would be right here, saving your team over 10 seconds of walking distance and giving an innate high ground advantage. Like I've said, the streets phase here is very hard to hold compared to the first point, and if they make it to the checkpoint, fear not. The final checkpoint spawns now fall back into the favor of the defending team. Ideally, the defending team can allow the enemies to push the payload freely up until this point only. This is one of the sweet spots for defending the final checkpoint. Let me explain. Reinhardt holding this position with your team can see and call out every possible angle and react accordingly. For this final phase, there are really no right or wrong positions besides playing behind the Reinhardt. The most important thing during the final checkpoint is to keep an eye out for anyone entering the health pack room or flanking through the back alley. If your communication and coordination is on point, there should be no surprises there. A sample defensive setup here would be having Soldier play alone in the building for cover, while being able to sustain his own health pool with Biotic Field. He can move freely between both entrances depending on how far the enemy team has pushed up. The rest of your team should play behind the Rhine shield, only utilizing the stage cover here if they have moved past that sweet spot. Resist the temptation of defending under the building because you lose your ability to watch your flank. Here's a quick example of what not to do from a VOD review of one of my biggest supporters. His team is holding under the building, which is a tactically weak position. As an Ana, he had to move up to even be in range of healing his teammates, leaving the two flank entrances uncovered and subsequently dying to the McCree. Anyways, that's about it for this guide. I want to keep the video at a good length and stop myself from dragging this on for over 10 minutes. I could go even deeper on the analysis and give more examples, but I hope this guide serves you well in giving you a basic understanding in the fundamentals of defending on Numbani. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next map in the series.